Hello and welcome to the very first DowScope Media Java programming tutorial. My name is Tim and I'm here to show you the introduction of Java, the beginning, what you need to start programming. I'm using Eclipse. I'm using the newest Eclipse as of the day this video came out. And the Java Development Kit number 8, which is, I believe, the newest one that came out as this video is being created. So if you're watching it as I'm creating it, then I'm always staying up to date with the software. And this is all free software to download and use. So feel free to get it. It is just Google Eclipse download and then Google Java SDK. That's the best ways to find it. I'm working in Eclipse and I've already created a new project called Tutorials and this new class called Java. What I plan to do, since this is the very first video, if you're watching as I'm putting them out, then I plan on making different language tutorials. So this one's Java, and I plan on doing a C++ one, a Objective-C one, a Swift one, maybe a C# one, Visual Basic, even PHP, Perl, Web, HTML, JavaScript. I mean, I can do them all as we come out. This is the very first one though, and I decided to go ahead with Java because, to be honest with you, I find Java easy to understand, easy to program, and software is free, and you can pretty much install it and write code and go from there. Maybe I'll also do some application tutorials as well as game tutorials, 2D and 3D, and see how it goes from there. And, I mean, I'm a media company, so I can even do other tutorials on other software. Basically, if you think you want something, if you think you want me to explain how to do something, leave comments below and I will make a note of doing that tutorial in upcoming videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video, as the more subscribers and the more likes I get, the more that I can put out these videos. So let's take it off. This is a Java 101 pretty much. I've already gone ahead and opened a new class. Class is in Java, another name for them is files. So as you can see on the screen right here, I got public class tut1, and tut1 is also the name of the file.java. So you can see how they're directly related. Keep that in mind because that will be one of your best friends knowing that, as well as conventions. I'm going to speak a little bit of conventions because one of my biggest pet peeves in programming is someone who programs out of convention. So what I mean by that is classes, the name of the class always starts with a capital letter. Okay? So it's good practice to do that, because if now you can do whatever you want to do. You can start it, you can name it something that doesn't even relate to what you're doing, and that's fine if it's for you. If you start creating and writing programs that are for other people, or you want other people to look at it, then this is where it's going to get a big mess. Because if you are not doing, if you're going outside of the convention and you're lowercasing the first letter of your class, then when somebody looks at that name, they could assume that it's a variable or even a method. So I would as follow along as best as I can, as I'm going to put things into convention as I see fit. If you notice me doing something out of convention, then feel free to leave me a comment or message me, and I will either explain why I did it, or I will thank you for letting me know that I've done it out of convention and I should be doing it this way. As we're each of us in the programming field, we teach each other all the time. And so this is why I wanted to start doing these, because I've been on YouTube looking at some videos, and some videos are great and on point, and then there's some that are not. And then the ones that are good, they still miss some things that I wish that I could see. So I'm going to take it slow, short videos, and explain each and every aspect that I can think of, with the help of you guys. Because if you guys comment that you want me to do a tutorial on this aspect of it, then I'll be able to do a tutorial on that, because I'll have your feedback. So feedback is great. Keep it coming, and let's get started. Okay, so this TUT one is I've started it. It's class, public class TUT one curly brace and curly brace. Everything that you write in this file is mostly gonna be in between these two curly braces. A file will not just run like this. To run a Java program, you need to have a main method. And a main method is the method that Java knows where to start from. So you could have a main method in this file, and it will run everything from this file. You could have a main method in another file that calls this file, but it's still got to be a part of the whole project. Let me start by um, doing the main method here, and then I can go and get into it. Okay, so this is a public class. Now, public, it can either be public or private or protected, or I think another one too, but that's more advanced. We're just going to deal with public things right now. So everything should be public until I move to a private tutorial. Public means that it can be seen by another file or by something outside of this class, uh, which is good to remember, because if this was private and you tried to access this from another class, you wouldn't be able to do it. So we're going to make it public. Class is what the file is called, tut1. Um, Basically, your class is a collection of all your methods and variables and programming and everything in there. So just remember, you need to have a class in order to run it. It just doesn't. You can't just start writing code and expect it to run. It has to be inside of a class. So this is a class for tut1. We're going to write the main method, which is also going to be public. And keywords in Java and in Eclipse, they change color. They go to this purple when you hit a special keyword. So keywords you cannot name anything a keyword. Like I couldn't do public class public or public class class. I can't use keywords for names. So tut1 is my name. I couldn't use it public. So I'm again doing public down here. Static, which I'm not going to really get into right now, but static means that you can access this whatever it is outside of the class without naming the class, or without naming the object, because that's another word for a class as well, is object. I'll get into that more when we speak about objects, because objects are a little bit more involved than just classes are. And I'll get into static when we start talking about that more. But for the meantime, this is how you're going to write the main method each and every time. 95% of the time, this is how you're going to write it. There are exceptions to every rule, I understand that. But as a beginner, all you have to know is this: public static void, and this void is telling the computer that this method returns something. Since it's void, void means it doesn't return anything. But if it was int, public static int, that means that whatever this method is, it's going to return an integer. And I'll get into integers and doubles and longs and all that probably in the next tutorial, because this is just the beginner of getting your first project working. Okay, so public static void, because it's not going to return anything. It's public, so it can be seen outside of the class. It's static, so it doesn't need the name to run. That's a bad explanation, but don't worry about it because I'm going to explain that when we actually get to static. And then the name of the method, and this is the main method. And it's a method, so as per convention, you have a lowercase m. As the class method had the uppercase, this one has the lowercase, so main. And then open and close bracket, and inside the brackets there has to be a string. Not a string, like it's going to be a string, but it doesn't have to be. Basically, inside the brackets of a method is where you're importing variables into the method. Okay, because methods, if you call a method from another method, that the method can't just take variables or just assume that a variable without knowing what the variable is. Basically, you have to tell this method that there's a possibility that you're going to be taking a variable into this method. Okay? And then open and close curly brace. The one thing about Eclipse is it does a lot of the work for you. Okay, so public static void main, and then you have it so that it can take string args. Args is this syntax right here is the same as a convention because it's the same syntax that everybody in Java uses. Okay, so basically you just need to copy this down every time you want to do a Java program and want it to run. Because without this method right here, your Java program is not going to run. Okay, so this little circle with the triangle in it, it is run. So if I hit run, it ran and then it's finished because there's nothing, it's not running anything. Basically, it just opened and then closed. So that is pretty much your very first Java program. If you've never programmed before, this is your very first Java program and my very first tutorial video. And I'm going to leave it here because in the next video I'll get into something else and then speak about that more in depth. This video was just the intro to start the main method, your program. This is what you need to start programming. So this is the great place to start. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that. Leave a comment. Tell me give me some ideas of future shows, whatever I got to do, and then we'll go from there. Thank you.